Been kind of a chaotic couple minutes, a lot going on, a lot of emotion over there as well. You guys were just a couple minutes ago denied access to this, I would call it a tent village, I guess is the correct phrase for it. You, just a couple minutes ago, brought a pair of shoes and set it down in front of the fence. What was the symbolism of that?
You know, I think what gets lost sometimes in politics is the human reality. And this is not about the words of an executive order or policy or spin. This is about children. And by leaving those shoes, it was a strong reminder that the kids are being held in that desert today should be with their families. They should be playing. They should be in schools. They should be doing what kids do. But instead, we as America have decided to rip them from their families, to hold them, to incarcerate them really in the desert. I mean, you're standing here today, we know it's over 100 degrees. It's hard to be here, but yet hundreds of children are being held in this place. They're planning for thousands. Reports are that they want to increase the capacity here to house thousands of children.
The potential for that.
The potential for that. And I just think that the important thing we have to remember is the human reality. This isn't about politics or words. I think that's why it's so important today that mayors from across the country, from the Four Corners and from the Heartland, Republicans and Democrats, small towns and big cities, came together and said, we're better than that as a country. Our voices will be raised. We will be raised to protect not just the people in our city, but to welcome those who should be welcome to our cities.
You know, you said you were speaking today as a mother, as the mayor of Seattle as well, and also as a former United States attorney. How do you believe that in this country we can balance the need for some security along our southern border, also with the need to be human and to have a heart and to govern with empathy and compassion?
We absolutely can and should do both. It's hard, and I know, I've worked with Customs and Border Protection and ICE agents. I know how hard they work and the conditions under which they work, but if we focus our resources on those people who actually are the greatest danger to our country, we will be a safer and better country. That's not the poor mothers and children fleeing from Guatemala and El Salvador and other countries where if they stay there, they could be killed. We should be focusing on those criminal activities that are having heroin hit our streets, that are trafficking in our children, who use sophisticated devices to circumvent the border. And so I believe we have to be safe as a country, but these actions don't make us safer. And indeed what they do is they degrade our standing in the world, they degrade our conscience, and they make us less safe.
So we know we need to get out of here because you're getting back to Seattle today.
Tonight.
Stuff to do. Will you humor me and walk over here with me? And I want people to come over as well because you and I get to see this and the people back home don't get to see it in person. So over here as we look in the distance where these tents are and these children are being held, Mayor, what would you say to them? If you did have an opportunity to have gone in today and to meet these teenage boys, what would you have said to them?
The first thing I'd want to do is hug them. I think one of the most heartbreaking things is people have been instructed they can't even touch the children. And anyone who's had kids or their aunt or uncle, you know, kids just need to be held and comforted sometimes. So the first thing I would want to do is just hold them. And then I would ask them how they are and what they needed. And I would let them cry. Because we've heard the audio tapes, we've seen the heartbreaking pictures. And we just have to remember, these children are terrified. Terrified. I mean, I left my youngest son for one night. And it's hard. My older son went away to college and it was heartbreaking. But these children are in a foreign land. They have no idea when they will be returned to their parents, if they will ever see them again. So I would say to them, we will take care of you, we will love you, and we will make sure that we in America can live up to the promise of America, what brought you here in the first place.
Do you think they know in there that
No,
the mayors of all these major cities have come here for them today?
My guess is they don't, but I think that as word travels, sometimes the informal means of communication are the best. And I think once the government finally lets them have more access to counsel, to health care, to nurses, to people who know how to care for children, they'll tell them that. They will tell them that people care for them, for their mothers, for their fathers, for their sisters and brothers. I mean, remember, it's not just their mothers and parents they've been separated, siblings, daughters, and sons sent to separate places, sometimes separate states, thousands of miles away. We're better than that.
All right, Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkan, on a flight back to Seattle. Thank you so much for your time. We are staying here, however. We will be here throughout the day today. I will be back here with you tomorrow morning with coverage of every aspect of this. This morning, you know, we focused a lot on the humanitarian